Hi, my name is Anita Daniels, and I'm the founder and president of Anita D.Designer Foundation. The Anita D.Designer Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization located in Texas with a global mission, and that is to see and to provide underserved and under-resourced communities and its people hope, bringing resources to them that are badly needed after a disaster, whether a natural disaster or just being who they were born to be. My parents, my dad especially, left a legacy on how to care for people and how to treat people. My father and my mom, they were pastors back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And my father passed in the 90s. But he was a pastor who was called to the rural areas of Texas to carry hope. Hope to people in areas and communities that for many years people didn't even know existed, by organizing churches in those areas. Churches and churches that would bring people together in communities that were very, very, very poor. So my dad's mission was to bring them hope. Hope that there is a better life. Hope that just because you were born into a particular culture doesn't mean that you have to stay there and accept what has been given to you in life, but to strive for the American dream. That's who my dad was. That's who I saw, and that's what he left for me. My dad taught me, and taught me the importance of people, and he poured into me because he saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. He saw a creative. I am a creative person. I am a conceptual artist. So my first design project took place in the church, creating banners for his church and teaching the kids how to act and do Christian plays, acting out the stories of the Bible of hope. Oh, what joy it brought me. But to fast forward it, after 25 plus years of being an interior designer and an artist, gaining my experience and my education through Texas A&M, and then going on to Texas Southern University, picking up valuable education on how to be an artist, a designer, a communicator, and a communicator across cultures. So I knew that I was in business, but I wasn't in business just to serve a particular culture. I went back to school so that I could learn how to do business cross cultures, to do business with Asians, to do business with white men and women, to do business with Hispanics and even African Americans. Taught me a lot, Texas Southern. But most of all, I pull on my early beginnings. And just to fast forward past the education, the tutelage, and all that kind of stuff. But let's get to 2017. I hit a pinnacle in my career, my design career. I was chosen to be the official designer for the Super Bowl 51 held in Houston, Texas. My job was to design and to turn the George R. Brown Convention Center into the Media Center Lounge. And I got a few professionals together and we did it. It was beautiful. But let's continue to fast forward. A few months later, Hurricane Harvey hit the Gulf of Texas, the coastal areas of Texas, devastated and destroyed lives, homes. Oh my God, different little cities and were disrupted, and they didn't know what to do. So September the 7th, 2017 was when the Anita D.Designer Foundation was born. I got a few of my design professionals together and I gave them the vision, and that was to let's design homes that are sustainable and innovative. Sustainable to live in coastal areas. Homes that would slow down floodwaters. Not stop them, but to slow down floodwaters. By taking materials, common day materials that would harden so that if when we wrap that material around the perimeter of a home up 6 feet, it would slow down the floodwaters. And then after the floodwaters resided, we would be able to go in with the homeowners would be able to go in with pressure washers and just wash it out, that ground floor out, and resume life as normal. We did that, and we traveled up and down the coast of Texas. And there again, in my adulthood, I was able to revisit some of those same cities that I had visited as a child with my dad as he preached in those same areas. And seeing some of those same areas destroyed was very, 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 very touching to me. So I have sat on panels with the EDA and TxDOT as the only nonprofit organization who dared to come to the table to talk about how we as a nonprofit would be there for the councils of government, the local governments in those areas, to help them to rebuild their infrastructure, what we could do as a nonprofit. And as we were gaining our momentum in doing so, and helping these areas and families fill out these applications for the federal government so that they could rebuild homes and rebuild their cities, here we go. COVID-19 hit, the coronavirus. I'll never forget, we were down in the Corpus Christi area. I had been speaking with and going back and forth with the city council down there, trying to get the mayor to understand not to tear down or destroy the heritage of different communities, but yet rebuild them with funds that were available by the government. Going back and forth with city managers and trying to convince them to take our plan, and finally we were let in through a tax credit deal. We were in first place for a long time to receive that tax credit deal. And this was for 2019, 2020, for the 2020. And tax credit year. And so anyway, in March, the world shut down. My development partners pulled out of the deal. And I found myself at square one, but not without hope. Not without hope for the people. My biggest joy is seeing people's lives rebuilt. So I called together some of my friends and professional people who I knew, and I told them, I have a vision to clean up COVID-19. They said, oh, Anita, how are you going to do that? And I said, listening to the CDC and the professional medical field about, and trying to understand what we're up against, I believe that we need to help the underserved and under-resourced communities, because the stimulus money and the money that they have in their savings, they don't need to touch that. We need to go into the community and actually provide them with cleaning supplies, sanitizing supplies, and COVID-19 PPEs, as we know of today. We need to go into the communities and give these supplies to them because they're not going to be able to afford them. And if we don't do something, what's going to happen, we're going to see their communities that we've worked so hard at for so many years, we're going to see their communities even stressed more. And what's going to happen is that we're going to see more of the coronavirus there. I contacted a global partner, giving them my vision to clean up COVID-19, asking if they would supply. And I was referred to their nonprofit leg, or the nonprofit arm, to present my idea. And when I did, they said yes. They said, yes, Ms. Daniels, we will help you to clean up COVID-19. 157-footer truck carrying over $500,000 worth of supplies brought into Texas by the Anita D.Designer Foundation turned into multiple trucks. Our first truck arrived here in Texas in April of 2020. We mobilized a crew of volunteers to help to package those cleaning supplies and PPEs up and sanitizing items up in bags, hope bags. And those hope bags were distributed throughout the community of Houston. But I still kept hearing a voice say, you have to reach a massive amount of people. You can't do this just by reaching 100 people here and 100 people there. No, massive amounts of people need to be reached at one time. And so I thought and I strategized, and I said, you know what? We're gonna go after partners who already have a large, massive amount of members, clients, whatever, and those who are in the underserved areas. So since April of 2020 through February of 2021, our numbers show us that we have served over 200,000 people through partnerships with Houston ISD, Lakewood Church, Catholic Charities, Houston, Galveston, and Corpus Christi. Starbucks even came on board to help us get the supplies into the community. Galveston Co-Cares, the National Guard, put their hands to our products to help us distribute. We have worked alongside on distribution lines with the food banks, because the people, and I knew it, the people had enough food to eat, but they didn't have the money to buy the supplies to keep them safe, to keep their kiddos safe, and to keep their bodies clean and their clothes clean and keep the floors clean, so that when the babies would crawl on the floors, they wouldn't pick up any type of virus or bacteria or whatever. We have served large populations of underserved and under-resourced communities. We've partnered with State Representative Sinfronia Thompson, Council Member Carolyn Shabazz, Council Member Martha Turner, Precinct 2 Commissioner Adrian Garcia, and the list goes on and on and on. And we did it flying under the radar. No press release. There were press releases done, but no press. I just remained focused. Kept going into the community, identifying large, massive amounts of people in underserved areas. Greater Grace Community Church of Houston, Shape Community Center of the historical Third Ward community in Houston. Northwest Area Assistance Ministries. We have stood in the gap for these organizations, getting supplies into their hands, showing them how to properly bag them up and give them away into the community, organizing distributions after distribution after distribution after distribution to help the people. And today, we have not even totaled our numbers for fiscal year 2020, 2021 yet. But I can imagine that we are upwards of 400 to 500,000 people that we have touched with our Clean Up COVID-19 program that we've been running. We are in the process of submitting new and fresh grants for the federal government to review, because we have a vision now. Our vision has elevated itself that we want to get out there and be more visible in the community than what we already have. We want to help more people. We want to get on the lines and set up vaccination points and so on and so forth. And speaking of the medicine part, or the medical part, Texas Children's Hospital is one of our largest partners that we have besides Houston Independent School District. Mark Wallace, the CEO of Texas Children's Hospital, said, and I'm paraphrasing, that this is a great thing that we're doing for the people. We adopted 12 of their most vulnerable clinics in and throughout the Houston area to help those families, not only with COVID-19 supplies, but also with financial, writing checks, going into the community and writing checks and giving those checks away to the people, because we understand that these are hard times for the people, and the people need us. They need people like me and you to be there, to stand in the gap for them. The testimonies that I hear on an ongoing basis, it warms my heart. But then beyond that, there are people who hear about what we've done and they weren't a part of what the distribution or receiving in, and they're emailing me and sending messages. Can you help us? The deplorable situations that people are living in today. I've been in these homes physically. I have physically seen the devastation. And when the Texas winter storms hit, people suffered even more so. Busted plumbing, roofs caving in because of living in substandard homes in the beginning, substandard apartment homes that needed to be torn down and remodeled or revamped years ago. But people are living in these situations with children. Our elders are living like this day to day. But the Anita D.Designer Foundation, we're here, and we're here to stay. We're here to stay, and we're here to partner with others who have ideas like we have, like our ideas. And that is to bring more support globally to these underserved and under-resourced areas. Because at the end of the day, my philosophy is people are people just like you and me. They have suffered at the hand of life. And if we can give a hand up and not a hand out anywhere, we will do it. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to share what we are doing in the community and what we will continue to do on a global level. Thank you so much.